Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are heading into the deep freeze of the Finnish capital.
Right.
We're looking at something truly brilliant. Lux Helsinki 2026.
And this isn't just about pretty lights.
No, not at all. It's about what happens to a city and, to the people in it when art makes them slow down.
Especially in the middle of a really brutal winter. That context, that freezing backdrop, is everything here.
It really is.
So our source material is a rich set of notes from Sam-Erik, who is there, and our mission for this deep dive is to get past the visuals. We want to extract that core insight, how the festival changes the city's whole mood, not just how it looks.
And Sam-Erik gives us that framework right at the start. They describe it as that kind of night.
Oh, I know what you mean.
The kind where the cold is so intense, maybe minus 15 Celsius,
right,
that it actually sharpens your senses, it makes you hyper-aware, and it kind of invites you to just pause.
And that sharpened focus brings us straight to the theme of the festival, which was stop time.
Which Sam-Erik said was spot on.
Totally. They noticed that people's pace just visibly stretched out.
The cold and the art working together.
Exactly. It created this really rare shared calm in the middle of the city. People were moving more softly, talking more quietly.
That idea of slowing down on purpose is so powerful. But, okay, let's unpack this. Sam-Erik starts on tram number 6. Why?
That's a great question.
Did the tram ride itself sort of add to that feeling?
It absolutely did. It's about the transition from your daily life into this art experience. Helsinki was already quiet because of the winter.
Right. Slower.
So taking the tram, it makes the journey part of the process. You're moving through these familiar places.
Buildings, parks.
But they're already starting to transform before you even get off. The journey prepares you to see things differently.
Okay, so let's get to the first big stop. Old Church Park, also known as Plague Park.
A very evocative name.
It is. And the first installation is called Mycelium Network. Sam-Erik's notes really emphasize how subtle this piece was. Deliberately avoiding being big or dramatic. Why start so small?
Well, I think that restraint is tactical. Most light festivals, they kind of shout at you.
Right. Big lasers, projections.
Yeah. This one whispered. Sam-Erik says, Mycelium Network resisted being spectacular to pull you into this really intimate state of attention.
So if the goal is to stop time, you can't just shock people into stopping.
You have to entice them. You have to make them want to lean in and look closer.
So we're talking about thousands of these fine, glowing optical fibers, right? Spread across the grass and the snow.
Exactly. Imagine you're discovering something that's normally hidden.
Like an underground world.
That's the idea. The network of fungal life. And the color was this soft, bioluminescent, greenish-white. The key detail, though, is that the light flickered.
Gently.
Yeah, gently. So it created this feeling, Sam-Erik wrote, that the park itself was breathing.
Wow. Against the old gravestones and trees. That must have been.
Very meditative. The notes say it was subtle, immersive, almost meditative, not spectacular.
I do wonder, though, does something that subtle risk getting missed? By people just walking by quickly.
It does, but that's the whole test of the stop time theme, isn't it?
I guess so.
Sam-Erik's point is you had to commit to the cold, to the stillness, to even notice the breathing.
And for you, the listener, that's the takeaway. Sometimes the most important stuff is in the quiet details you only notice when you slow down.
Precisely.
Okay, so from the earth breathing, we move to the next piece, momentum. How did that shift the focus?
Well, we're still on the tram route, heading toward Hotelier. And this is where we go from the biological to the purely intimate.
The human connection.
Exactly. Sam-Erik called this one of the most intimate experiences of the whole festival.
The visuals were ink-inspired. What does that even look like?
Think very restrained. A deep indigo and charcoal palette. It was projected onto a building facade, but it looked like vast pools of liquid light moving incredibly slowly.
Like ink spreading in water.
Under a microscope, yeah. And that slowness, it made the viewers get still. It acted as a quiet meditation on connection, love, unspoken things.
Sam-Erik's words were very restrained, very grounding.
And that grounding feeling, that visual weight, it anchors you against the sharpness of the winter air. It's art that makes you sit with an emotion.
Instead of rushing past it. And this is where they start layering ideas, right?
Yes. The next piece, chapters, shifts the focus again. If momentum was about internal stillness, chapters is about external stillness. The stillness of memory and history.
So we're at an old university building. How did they bring the facade to life without it just being a history lesson?
The key was integration. It wasn't just projecting old photos. It animated the architecture itself. Light and shadow would move across the cornices, the archways.
Almost like an old film flickering.
Yes, and the sound was crucial. Fragments of historical dialogue, echoing street sounds. It created this feeling that the building itself was remembering its past.
And this is where it gets really interesting for me. Sam-Erik says it felt like the city was telling its own story.
Poetic, immersive.
And again, never overwhelming. It holds on to that shared calm, even with all that historical weight.
It absolutely does. But any good journey needs a change of pace. The mood has to shift.
And that shift comes with Soleil Nuit. We're moving from history to something celestial.
Right. Soleil Nuit was a massive kinetic piece. It totally broke the human-scale intimacy we'd seen so far.
Where was it?
In a big open square. So right away, people are gathering differently, looking up. It was made of thousands of tiny polished mirrors.
So they're catching the light.
And responding to the wind. Constantly changing.
How does that constant motion tie back to stopping time? It seems like a contradiction.
Because it highlights a force you can't control. The wind. The notes describe it beautifully. At night, the mirrors reflected the city lights, the moon.
And it looked like Helsinki was breathing light into the darkness.
It puts you, the human observer, back into a sense of time that's dictated by nature, not by a clock.
So we've gone from the breathing earth to inner emotion to the cosmos. But the serenity can't last.
It doesn't. And that confrontation arrives with the last dance. This was the emotional climax of the route.
Sam-Erik's words were raw, unsettling, impossible to ignore.
Yeah. It completely shattered the contemplative mood that had been building for hours.
What made it so unsettling?
Unlike the other pieces, this one was designed to disrupt the calm with urgency. It directly confronted people with the reality of climate collapse and the illusion that time is still on our side.
So the light display itself must have been harsh. Aggressive, maybe?
The notes imply that, yes, high contrast, maybe rapid anxiety-inducing movement. It was designed to grab your attention immediately.
That must have been so jarring after all that quiet meditation.
That's the point. It's a reminder that while you can try to stop time for yourself, the environmental clock is ticking loudly.
Sam-Erik says you didn't walk away untouched.
No, the message is that some things need to be loud and unsettling to break through our quiet observation. It's designed to stay with you.
So after all that, the quiet, the confrontation, you need a break. A human full stop.
And they found it. Escaping the cold at Cafe Lasipalatsi for hot chocolate.
Right next to Amos Rex.
And there's this one last detail, an unplanned auditory detail that it perfectly capped the whole experience.
What was it?
As they were sitting there thawing out, a lone saxophone drifted down from the second floor.
A lone saxophone. That's perfect.
It really is. It proves the art's effect ripples out. It's not just the installations, it's the quiet moments that follow. That feeling of shared calm was still there in the cafe.
So what does this all mean for us? The conclusion from Sam-Erik's notes is that Lux Helsinki didn't just light up the city.
It slowed it down.
The real value wasn't the spectacle. It was the intentional deceleration.
And that deceleration is a blueprint for how you, the listener, can process complex information. Sam-Erik's advice is to experience it unhurried.
Leave space between the installations.
And allow Helsinki speak back to you.
Which, if you translate that, it means don't just jump from one article to the next. Give the subtle data points of the Mycelium Network their own time.
Right, and understand the historical context, the chapters. If you just race through to check things off a list, you miss the whole point. You lose the nuance.
The value is in strategically slowing down and listening.
It's a template you can apply to anything, really. Walking through a festival or tackling a huge pile of research, pausing sharpens your senses.
It really does.
Yeah.
Which brings us to a final provocative thought for you to consider. Based on everything Sam-Erik observed,
we saw this whole range, from the subtle beauty of Mycelium Network to the raw confrontation of The Last Dance.
So what does it reveal about our modern attention span?
That an urgent, necessary message like climate collapse often seems to need the biggest, most unsettling display to cut through the noise.
Is that shark value really necessary to get us to act? Or is the quiet, immersive experience the more profound way to actually shift our mindset for good?
Is the loud necessary, or is the quiet more profound? Something to mull over.
Until our next deep dive. We'll see you next time.